When I'm talking or when I'm delivering training on anti-racism, I have to start with making sure that everybody understands systemic racism, because unless you understand it, you can't have the conversation. It simply won't make sense. People will still just look at racism as something that happens on an individual level rather than it being a system. So anyway, I've come across philosopher Marilyn Frye's analogy of what systemic oppression looks like, which obviously can be applied to racism. So I'm going to read it, and I hope that through the telling of this little tale, you can understand, if you don't already, what systemic racism looks like. So imagine there's a bird trapped in a cage. If you look very closely at just one wire in the cage, you cannot see the other wires. If your conception of what is before you is determined by this myopic focus, you could look at one wire up and down the length of it and be unable to see why the bird just would not fly around the wire anytime it wanted to go somewhere. It's only when you step back, stop looking at the wires one by one microscopically, and take a macroscopic view of the whole cage that you can see why the bird doesn't go anywhere. And then you can see it in a moment. Okay, so one can study the elements of oppressive structure with great care and some goodwill without seeing the structure as a whole, and hence without seeing it or being able to understand that one is looking at a cage and that there are people who are caged, whose motion and mobility are restricted, whose lives are shaped and reduced. I mean, that explains what systemic racism looks like, or is deemed. Some people just simply do not see it, cannot see it, because they do not experience this. And that's all I wanted to say for this video, because I'm trying not to make them too long. But yeah, if you need to, listen to that again so it makes sense. The system of racism is not seen by everyone because they're focusing on individual acts and they don't see the entire system. Okay, gotta stop.